goody, here it comes.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show.
You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
Oh my God, don't stop now!
With your hosts, Brian, John, and Elaine.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show, the madhouse for film fans and film freaks of all types. I am one of your hosts, Elaine Williscroft, followed by my co-host and husband, John Williscroft.
I think it's film freaks and film fans of all types.
I mean, I tried. Brian's not here to keep us in line.
Brian is not here for this one.
He's
and
not.
this was kind of a surprise recording.
Right, a sad surprise.
Yeah, because my phone just randomly says, I get like news flashes on it, and it says Joel Schumacher, and I'm like, what is he making a movie or something? And I click on it, it says, has passed away. And I was like,
I know, isn't that the
holy
worst?
hell. He was 80.
I didn't realize he was so old.
Actually, I cannot believe how old he was because
I
he
know.
carried it well. I would have said he was
Carried
maybe
it lightly, as they say.
in his 60s or whatever.
Of course.
And this is
Yeah.
So we're not really doing a filmmaker retrospective. It's not one of those episodes where we go in depth on every movie and the complete history.
What did I say? In memoriam, I guess we would call it, right?
Yeah, we're just kind of mostly having a conversation because good, bad, and indifferent. He's really been a landmark in film.
Well, I mean, saying good, bad, like sometimes we do poop on the guy.
Yeah, and we give him a hard time, especially on this show, because of the Batman movies. I wasn't crazy about his direction, especially since I grew up with the first and second one. I like
Lots of
dark,
neon.
Yeah.
So much neon.
Yeah, and he brought neon and nipples in, and I wasn't crazy about it. So we give him a hard time, but honestly, the guy has made more good movies than he has bad. He's not Michael Bay. He's not Jerry Bruckheimer. Like he was a legitimate filmmaker. I didn't care for his take on Batman, but
Jerry Bruckheimer, you mean the producer of all of CSI?
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
Oh, I never saw that show, or the Miami one, or the New York one.
I love me some CSI. How dare you?
I want to see like CSI Shreveport.
CSI Shreveport. I would watch the shit out of that.
CSI Mount Pelier.
Yes, please.
The capital of Vermont, kids. So now if you have your capitals test tomorrow.
Ooh.
In June.
John has you covered.
Yeah, in June. But yeah, so we're just going to kind of, just take a look back on his amazing career, actually. And interestingly, he started out as a costume designer, in this industry, and worked on a bunch of films. A lot of them, I'll be honest, I didn't see because I think that they were not movies marketed at me necessarily. But he did a lot of costume work, and I think that's where like his interest in, shall we say, like nipples on bat suits and the crazy outfits that we get in his era of the Batman movies, where that came from.
Sure.
So, he loves a good costume.
So he did costume design for Play It As It Lays. He designed the wardrobes of Dean Cannon, Joan Hackett, and Raquel Welch for the film The Last of Sheila. He was costume designer for Woody Allen's Sleeper and Paul Mazursky's Bloom in Love.
Yeah, I've seen Sleeper. Yeah, that's a classic.
And then he moved up to production designer for Killer Bees. And then he was costume designer for The Time of the Cuckoo and The Prisoner of Second Avenue and Interiors. And then he wrote a script in 1974 for the made-for-TV movie based on the life of Virginia Hill. And then he wrote the script for Sparkle in 1974, and then he moved on to I guess I would say that Batman was kind of his biggest budget movie. Batman was like his biggest thing.
Yeah, he didn't do like a whole lot of
Batman Forever.
blockbusters.
Yeah, that was his. Well, I mean, that was his big. I would say his big breakthrough.
Yeah, well, I mean, like the biggest movie he would have done, in terms of like a Hollywood movie, other than that, would probably be Lost Boys. But
right. Yeah, he had a lot of that. I would say.
I would say that the Batman franchise is what made him kind of a household name, you know, because like
Right. Well, did he do St. Elmo's Fire as well?
yes, yeah, but like I don't think that when you saw that movie you thought like, oh, who directed this, you know, and like because some directors are very good about making themselves celebrities, like Kevin Smith or you know Quentin Tarantino, but Joel Schumacher was not that type of guy. You know,
Right.
It was you probably saw a bunch of, you know, the Universal saw a bunch of Joel Schumacher movies and you didn't even know that he did them, you know.
Right. Well, like, do you remember the number 23 when that came out in like '07? It was like one of those ones where you're like, ooh, it's a serious role for Jim Carrey. Yeah, that was Joel Schumacher, bless him. Or The Babysitter in '95.
Oh, we'll get there. Yeah, because his first big movie was DC Cab and starring Bill Maher.
Do you know what's hilarious? One of the main movies that I actually know of his, he produced. Joel Schumacher produced a movie called Gossip. Now, he didn't direct, but one of the main movies I know of his is called Gossip. It's the first thing I ever saw Norman Reedus in. And say what you will, but it's one of the first things I saw him in. I did not see Boondock Saints. Sorry, guys.
What, you weren't a frat boy?
No, I wasn't. It's a movie from 2000, actually, that I saw, and it's one of the first things that I saw.
Gotcha. Yeah, the first movie like on his radar was DC Cab, and it is, as I said, starring Bill Maher and a bunch of other comedians, and it is a pile of dog shit.
Oh my God.
You have to start somewhere, right?
Right.
Yeah,
totally.
And from there, I mean, that got him St. Elmo's Fire, which in terms of movies with the, you know, the quote unquote brat pack,
right.
This is one
I
of
hate that phrase, by the way.
I thought you loved a good pun.
I do love a good pun, but I don't know. It's become such a phrase and such a generational quote that I just think those movies now are just so ill-informed. I don't know. Just not feeling it.
But
not feeling it.
This movie was considered one of the lesser of the, you know, of that era of the John Hughes type of movies, you know, or like The Outsiders, or, you know, movies that like Ralph Macchio and Emilio Estevez and Judd Nelson were in, you know.
Sure.
It's certainly not a favorite of mine in any way, shape, or form. But, you know, obviously he went to do Lost Boys, which, you know, we've talked about it frequently on this show.
Right, and especially in our vampire episode. Y'all should check it out.
And I think recently we talked about it. I can't remember if that episode's coming out later or already came out. I can't remember.
That's what happens when you bulk record, kids.
Yeah, this is, you know, Lost Boys is like, it's a super interesting and fun take on the genre. And, you know, and I think I saw it when I was like 12 or 13. So it was like the right age for that kind of movie.
Makes sense.
You know, and because it's the main characters are around your age, so it's easy to relate to, but it's also got a subtle grit to it that makes you think like, ooh, I'm watching something edgy, you know.
Right.
It is just,
especially at that age, you know, it's not hard to impress you.
yeah. And, you know, obviously we're not going to go film to film, but I would say probably his best film came out in 1993, and that's Falling Down.
Yeah.
Talk about angry white man syndrome.
Whoopsie.
Yeah, and, you know, just all these people that are calling the cops now on black people for, like, you know, grilling and walking and breathing and stuff, like
Breathing while black.
Yeah, that was like Michael Douglas back then, like a guy who just snaps one day and like basically goes insane over the simplest of things, like the price of a soda can.
Yeah.
You know, trying to like basically wave a gun at a store clerk because the price of a can of soda is too high anymore. And just like, you know, when you have like the worst day you can, and, you know, and you flip out and you start attacking everybody, and like some of the people don't deserve it in the movie, but you can't help but feel for Michael Douglas, even though his character is a complete like emotionally unstable asshole. But like the kind of people he goes after are the kind of people you know you almost wish you could.
I'm not sure I feel for Michael Douglas, but okay.
Well, in the scene when like the people on the golf course are like shooting their golf balls at him because like, oh, what are you doing on our course? You're on our green. And then he pulls a machine gun on them, and I'm like, yeah, go shoot those golfers. Good.
Maybe. Okay.
So yeah, already you're getting a sense that this guy is a fairly eclectic filmmaker, and I don't know if that is because he can tackle any genre, or if he's just, and I don't mean it's really like a director for hire, so to speak, like, and just, yeah, whatever you give me, whatever genre, whatever take, I'll just do it, and I'll do it.
Does that speak to flexibility, or does that speak to not really having a voice of your own?
Yeah, and I'll do it competently. I'm not going to wow you. This isn't like Spielberg on Jaws, where if anybody else had directed it, it probably would have been forgotten. But Spielberg was his wunderkind, you know.
Right.
So I don't know, and I don't want to speak ill of the dead. So I'm being as constructive here as possible.
Yeah, I like that we've really let this guy have it before, but now that he's gone, we're like being nicer.
Well, and I know
the Cinema Psycho Cowards edition.
I said this at the top of the show, but just to reiterate, like, I have some problems with some of the things that he's done as a filmmaker, but I'm not saying that he's a bad or incompetent filmmaker.
Listen, none of us have loved Batman Forever, and I'm the only one that loves Batman and Robin.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Whatever. I've always loved Batman and Robin, so I've always spoken nicely of this particular dead. So suck it, Willis Croft. That's what I'm basically saying.
But, you know, he's also, by most things that I've read and seen, that he's an extremely nice person and actually pretty down to earth.
Oh, well, yeah. I had no idea what he was like in real life, to be honest.
So, yeah, I mean, God, the guy even apologized for Batman and Robin.
As he should have. Even though I love it, I know it's bad. It's not that I don't. But so did George Clooney. He also apologized.
Yes.
As he also should have.
The client was kind of what I call the Schumacher John Grisham era, where he started doing a bunch of his books.
Oh, yeah. Well, John Grisham's also garbage.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Didn't he say, like, it's like some people watch child porn and they're not pedophiles?
It was a few years ago.
Yeah.
He kind of equated it to saying, like, yeah, everybody's had a couple too many and maybe, like, gone down a weird path on the internet. That's kind of what he said about, like, child porn.
Look, we've all jerked off to Home Alone.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's a piece of garbage. Aren't you guys glad that you're listening to this episode? Please tell me in the comments how glad you all are.
You know, and what's very interesting is, like, he did The Client, he did Batman Forever, Time to Kill, and Batman and Robin. So, like, he takes, like, these serious, intense court drama movies about, like, the hardships of life, and in between those, he's got, like, these flashy guy in a nipple outfit punching question mark and Icemen. You know what I mean? Like, it's so strange that, you know, you would take something so grounded and so intense, and then silly rubber guy and nipples, really intense again, and an extremely rubber nipple silly with, you know, a freeze guy.
Good Lord, how many times is John going to say nipples in this episode? If y'all wanted to play a drinking game, I feel like that's the one to play.
Oh, yeah.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Oh, yeah, nipples.
Ew, God, why are you so gross? Oh.
But
sometimes I regret my marriage. What? Who's talking?
Dude, you regret it every day. But did you know that he also directed the music video for Kiss on a Rose?
Did he really?
Kiss from a Rose.
That song is so dope. I don't know what it has to do with Batman, but that song is the best.
Well, it was that era where they wanted to have, like, a bitchin' soundtrack to make money, so they said, like, Seal, can you, like, make a song for Batman Forever? He's like, well, I don't really. He's probably like, I don't know Batman all that. Well, they're like, well, it doesn't have to do anything with Batman as long as it's good.
Oh my God, but, like, that song, it's so good. He nailed it.
Yeah.
Like, nice job.
I mean, as much as, like, we shit on it, and you can check our archives of, like, really that awful Batman Forever, where it's been one of the few times that we've agreed that, yes, it was that awful. Like,
it's true.
A lot of people love this take because they don't like all the hyper serious, sad take that Burton had, or the, like, insanely, like, direct approach of Christopher Nolan, you know.
Right. Or they love Seal that much, right? That's a reason, right?
That's why you like it, I think. But yeah. So I think a lot of people like the silliness. You know, in a way, it was like a reminder of the 60s television show, but, like, the big difference for me is that the 60s show was purposely transgressive. It was supposed to almost be a satire, where Batman Forever was not. It just wasn't great.
No, it was just accidentally and like kind of stupid.
But I can understand that, like, if it's a comic book movie, so make it look like a comic book and let it be silly. Like, I think comics, I think, deserve a little more respect than that. But I can see how some people see it that way. Like, I want to see a silly movie. I want to have my popcorn and just laugh and see some action scenes and go home, you know, and that's exactly what he provided with Batman Forever. Now, he went down the rabbit hole of madness with Batman and Robin, but, you know.
But God damn it, Arnold Schwarzenegger had so much fun in that movie, and you can really tell.
He's the only one that's actually trying, and like, but oh, Johnny's so
and he's
bad.
having so much fun.
Yeah. But of course,
and he's like
bad.
a really good person, and maybe a good governor for California. And everything is inside out, and I don't know what's real.
But you know, and that he leads to like 8mm, which my father went to see that movie, and he came home and he showered.
Wow!
Because it was just that gross. Like,
well,
it made,
thanks for that, John.
Like, it made him feel icky, and he had to go home and bathe. Like, and like,
were there nipples, John?
Oh, there were nipples. They weren't rubber ones.
Wow.
But there were also rubbers in the movie.
Well, now I feel icky.
But just like, once again, we got bipolar, you know, Joel Schumacher, where it's like he makes the goofiest movie ever made. And then he goes and makes a snuff film with Nicolas Cage. And I'm like, what is this guy? He's just all over the map, you know?
There's a lot. It's a lot to unpack here. And we won't get to all of it. We're trying, but we won't get to all of it. But my goodness. Again, if anyone wants to play the drinking game of John saying nipples, please feel free to jump aboard.
Nipples. But I remember when Phone Booth in 2002, when that came out, and that was like an intense thriller, and people were like, you know, a lot of people would say like, oh, you know, that's Joel Schumacher, right, who directed that? And like, wait, what? Like the Batman guy? Yeah. The guy that did Lost Boys and the Batman movies, like that's him. And people were like astounded by that, you know, like I think people forgot like The Client and St. Elmo's Fire, like, oh, this guy can actually make like a decent movie.
Oh, yeah, with Colin Farrell and Kiefer Sutherland?
Yeah.
That would have been like another time of him working with Kiefer Sutherland, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you know what? I'm sorry. I got a little ahead of myself. I would like to backtrack real quick here. Because there's something I do want to say about A Time to Kill in 1996. If you're not aware of this story, it revolves around, excuse me. Sorry about that. Enjoy that, everybody listening. The story revolves around a couple of like racist hillbillies who rape and murder a little black girl. And then they lynch her, you know, and they hang her and she dies. And her father, like when they're facing their day in court, you know, the father, played by Sam Jackson in the movie, shoots them dead in front of everybody. And so then the trial starts like, you know, was he justified in his retribution homicide? You know, because like they did probably the most disturbing thing you can do on this planet.
Right.
And, you know, so the trial is for Sam Jackson. He's being tried for murder, but like, was he justified? And obviously, you know, the Klan comes out and then there are black protests, you know, so it's like, it's this hotbed movie. And I remember seeing the movie when I was like 11 years old and being like kind of shook by the scene. Because when you're writing a novel, you can read it and kind of suspend yourself from it a little bit. But like when you're attacked by the visuals, as much as like I sometimes give him, you know, a hard time or question, you know, whether he was a director for hire, things like that, like he handled it with such dignity because there's no good way to direct two grown men pedophile raping a person and then murdering them. And like, he did it with a level of class and dignity that I don't envy him for having to direct that scene.
Listen, I mean, he won an NAACP award, an Image Award for Outstanding Motion Picture. Like, you don't win that by accident.
Yeah.
He also won the NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Supporting Actor for Samuel L. Jackson. Like,
He was very good. No.
again, I mean, like, that's not an accident. Like, there's skill there in the direction. So, like I said, I mean, we always teased Joel Schumacher for being like this like neon Batman guy, but like that takes skill. It really does. There's no question that takes like a lot, you know?
Yeah, and it's not an enviable thing to have to.
That's not easy.
direct,
Absolutely not. No, that's a good point, John. That really is. I mean, that's a delicate subject matter. That's a big, weighty subject, you know?
But just when you get to phone booth and you're like, oh, hey, Joel's actually pretty great. You know, he's really good. He directs your favorite movie of all time, The Phantom of the Opera.
Oh my God, can you please go fuck yourself?
Lane, do you want to tell us a little bit about your love of Phantom of the Opera and when you went to see this movie?
So, okay. So, like, this is, the year is, God, what the fuck is the year?
Paint us a picture.
It is the year of our Lord, 2004. So, I didn't have siblings growing up. So, I found myself being a little bit invested, if you will, in certain things growing up. And one of the things that I found myself like very entrenched in was the Phantom of the Opera. And in 7th grade, I found the Phantom of the Opera. I ended up seeing it at the Pantages Theater that year twice. My parents took me once. And we went with my 7th grade class once, you know. I was like not bullied per se, but like my classmates like didn't quite get it, you know, how much I loved it or whatever. And so loved it, right? Always will have a beautiful place in my heart for it. I was very excited when this movie came out in 2004. I was like, oh my God. I was like, this movie's coming out. And this, you know, this girl at the time, I was like, Emmy Rossum, I've never heard of her. I was like, she's gonna be Christine Daae. This is so cool. And then I was like, oh, it's like Joel Schumacher's directing. I was like, well, that's all right. I was like, okay. I was like, oh. I was like, but why is Minnie Driver playing the part of Carlotta? I've never heard her sing before. And I was like, who the hell is this Gerard Butler guy?
Who's Gerald Butler?
Playing the part of the Phantom. And then also, I was like, what? I was like, what's happening? And so I went to see it at the theater, and it turns out this Gerard Butler human cannot sing at all. I was like, why?
Why would you need to be able to sing?
Why would you hire? I mean, and I don't mean to be a snob, and to me, you know, I know everybody takes a side. Michael Crawford versus, oh God, what's the Canadian man's name?
Terrence?
No.
Philip?
Fuck you. Oh, shit. My mother's going to disown me. Oh, my God.
I'm drawing a blank on it, too. I know who you're looking for.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It's like at the very tippy top of my name.
At this moment, Lane is checking her phone.
Oh, my
to
God.
find
I
out
really
who the
am.
name is.
Phantom.
We join her now as she searches the interwebs for the name.
Actor.
She seems a bit
Oh, my God.
stressed and perplexed. She sure does, Dave. Thanks,
Oh, shit.
Bill. I can only
my
pause
God.
for so long, Elaine.
Colm Wilkinson. That's it. Colm Wilkinson. Right? Oh,
All right.
shit.
Well, who's the better Phantom on 3? 1, 2, 3.
No
Wilkinson.
choice. They're both good for different reasons.
Okay.
Okay, well, who did you pick, fucker?
Wilkinson.
Okay, Colm Wilkinson is your favorite? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that's fine. I think
Even
that
if I couldn't remember his name.
I think Colm Wilkinson and Michael Crawford are both good, for different reasons. But like I said, I don't have a strong preference. My mom is firmly on Team Colm Wilkinson, as you are, John.
Hey-o.
But I have lots of friends that love Michael Crawford. So like, I don't really like pick favorites. But I'm definitely not Team Gerard Butler because the fucker can't sing.
Oh, wait, no. I'm Team Lon Chaney. Let's go back to the silent
Ew,
film.
that's not a thing.
But yeah, so, and I feel almost like,
And like, I'm sorry.
yeah.
If you're going to make a movie about this, it doesn't really matter. Like, you could make the sets minimal. You could bring out a lot of things. You could change a lot of things, but make the singing good. That's the only fucking point of this movie.
Well, the thing is, I love
because Emmy Rossum kicks ass.
Lane?
I'm sorry, having a lot of feelings.
Can you calm down?
Having a lot of feelings.
The thing is, I love movies and I love musical theater, but I don't necessarily like movie musicals because the whole point of musical theater is to see it live and in person.
I guess. I mean, this is going to break up our marriage, but I really like the movie Chicago.
Chicago was done very well because they made so much of an effort to make it look like the actual show. You know,
John doesn't think it was Best Picture good.
No.
I mean, I thought it was really good.
Hollywood just loves a musical.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was maybe Best Picture good.
All right, well, that's fine. Agree to disagree.
I mean, I don't want to get divorced over it, but I thought it was really good. I love that movie a lot.
All right, but my point being that
he hates me so much.
That maybe Phantom is meant to be on the stage and
no
film adaptation. And I'm not giving him a pass here because this is still a very crappy adaptation. The no film adaptation is going to be very good because
he chose to do it, right? And that choice was a bad choice. Right?
Yeah. But, I don't think that there's any adaptation of this that's going to live up to the show.
The actual stage show, you mean?
The actual stage show, yeah. Because, every, effeminate young man I saw the Phantom of the Opera when I was a kid. I think I saw it twice. And I saw it once with you as an adult. So, yeah.
We saw Phantom together?
Yes.
We've been together for so long.
Going on 47 years.
A billion bajillion years.
We sound very young. But yeah, so it was like, he got the good graces of a phone booth, be like, yeah, he's not just the Batman guy, he's actually a really good director. And then he makes the Phantom of the Opera and go, there's the Batman guy for you.
Right. It was unfortunate because then I was so excited for it and I felt like I had done something wrong, like an abuse victim. I was like, why didn't I love it? What did I do wrong?
Well, Lynn, you didn't play a lot of video games growing up, right? And you didn't know that there were crappy video games.
Right. No, I thought it was totally my fault. I thought I fucked it up.
This is like a video game thing for you.
100%. I thought I fucked it up. Absolutely. I thought I was just bad at video games.
And then I'd say the last thing of major note that he made was the number 23, which Elaine, you brought up towards the beginning of the show.
Right.
And
sorry, I jumped the gun. You seemed upset.
But what a goofy goddamn movie.
I did not see it. I'm not a Jim Carrey fan anyway, as we all may have ascertained by now.
But it's like 2 and 7 though, because it came out in 2007. That's 21, and then there's 2 zeros, and you add those to get 23. Oh my god!
I sense bitterness, John.
But yeah, it's strange because that was 2007. And I mean, now granted, let's do some quick math.
We were together by then, still.
Yeah,
I feel like we're old.
Some quick math. He was 67 when he made that, so it's not that he didn't continue to work. He did some stuff, but nothing of a Client or Batman or Lost Boys, we always
ask this, John, is directing a young man's game?
It absolutely is, but I wonder if he just hit 67 and said okay, I'm done with big Hollywood movies. I'm just going to do whatever I want, whenever I want now.
Interesting.
Because the movies that came out after this, I'll be honest with you, we didn't prepare for this because we didn't expect him to die. But of the movies he came out after that, Blood Creek, 12, Man in the Mirror, Trespass, The Killing Floor, and 2 episodes of House of Cards. At least I've heard of that show. But the thing is, I have never heard of any of that stuff that he did after the number 23. Never even heard of it.
Right.
So they must be indie movies that he just did for yucks,
Right. Well, when you're
older.
I mean, when you're old, though, you either retire or do whatever the F you want, right? I mean, how would that be different as a director? I guess it wouldn't be, right?
Yeah.
You just kind of do whatever the F you want.
And one thing that, to note here about him is that he was a music video director, and I think that comes off in a lot of his work.
Yeah, I think the quick cutting before quick cutting was really a thing.
And I'll go to the obvious one, Batman Forever. Batman Forever, it feels like a music video. It's shot
I think Batman and Robin does too.
If you put those movies on mute and put a song on, you would feel that like a lot of the action sequences were a music video, like a very, very expensive music video.
So expensive, goddamn.
And with a few exceptions, I think that music video directors should kind of know their place and stay where they are because they make really shitty.
Yikes.
Like major film,
I don't know. I mean, aren't people allowed to grow and change, though?
You know who's like a big time music video director who's now working in major films? Michael Bay.
Yeah, but I mean, Michael Bay has problems beyond that. Like, if you prove that you can't grow and change, that's a problem.
Well, my issue with directing music videos is everything is style over substance. And I think that you have a hard time when you've trained yourself to live that life for a few years, like it's hard to switch to substance over style when you're doing like actual film because, your whole thing is cool shot, because sometimes you're telling a story like, Janie's got a gun or something,
Right.
But a lot of the time it's cool shots of the band. Look at the lead singer's crotch. Then really cool B-roll shot, and then look at the lead singer's crotch again, and then close up of the bass guitar, and then more crotch, and then another cool shot. Like they're not deep. Most music videos are not deep. They're just meant to be really pretty.
I guess we also should have done a drinking game to crotch.
Crotch and nipples.
Apparently.
Which is the name of my autobiography. Coming out later this year.
Well, kids, go ahead and rewind and play the crotch and nipples drinking game. I know I will be.
But yeah, I don't. The weird thing is I don't know how I'm stammering, which is great for podcasts.
It's all right. Collect yourself. Yeah. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out.
I don't know how I feel about Joel because there's a lot of movies like A Time to Kill and Lost Boys and movies that I liked very much. And I think he did have good style in there. And there's a bunch of movies that I didn't like very much. But I will say this, like when he died, like I felt like something in the pit of my stomach.
Well, you feel the loss. I mean, like it's okay to feel that loss when someone iconic goes, like you said, you didn't realize how old he was. And I don't know, the fact that we shit on him all the time meant he always was there. And it's a surprise when he goes, like we've always been a big proponent of not, canonizing someone when they die. But like at the same time, like there was good and bad. Like nobody's all good or all bad. That's okay,
But it's a strange feeling because why did it hit me so hard when Joel Schumacher died? Is it just
probably because we talk about him a lot,
Yeah, and go as we said at the top of the show, good, bad, or indifferent. The man is a legend for
absolutely
for good and bad because like I feel his whole career here is a litany of great and bad, like DC Cab, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, movies, The Phantom of the Opera, like crap, Yeah. And then he makes like, I wouldn't say he's ever made a great film, like the one he'll be remembered for. I think better or for worse, like sure. Batman Forever will be the one he's remembered for. But like,
really, Batman Forever, not Batman and Robin? I find that disappointing.
I think that some people can defend Batman Forever. Nobody can really defend Batman and Robin. Like,
oh, come on.
Hey, as you said, you like it, but you don't think it's good.
God damn it. You're right.
But, like movies like Flatliners, Falling Down, The Client, Time to Kill, 8mm, Phone Booth, like these movies are pretty good.
Yeah,
but
isn't
not
it weird?
Great.
Well, isn't it weird that some of them are good but not great? I think that's weird that some of them are good but not great.
Yeah, he never made Jaws. He never made Saving Private Ryan. Just to use Spielberg as an example.
You've used Spielberg a lot, actually.
Yeah. But there was never like the one movie that's going to go on his tombstone. Like Jamie Lee Curtis said, when I die, the newspaper headline's going to be. And for all you young people, newspapers are things that printed words where people used to get their information from.
Oh my God, people are going to eat you alive. Sanctimonious.
But she said, when I die, the newspaper headline's going to be Halloween actress kicks the bucket. You know what I mean? And she's like, I'm okay with that.
I think it took her a long goddamn time to be okay with that.
Oh, yeah. But like, people are defined by that. Like, Orson Welles was, he was always going to be the guy who made Citizen Kane. But when you make what some people argue the greatest movie of all time, like, who fucking cares? Francis Ford Coppola is the director of Godfather and Apocalypse Now. But what goes on now that he just passed away the other day? And by the way, sorry about the number schema here. We kind of put a lot of pressure on Brian. He's got to change the numbers of our episodes. So sorry, Brian. But we didn't count on this happening. But, what is on Joel Schumacher's on Tombstone? I mean, metaphorically. Is it director of Lost Boys? Like what?
Probably. I mean, that's probably what he's most remembered for, I would say.
Yeah.
I would say that's like the best known, best loved, I would say. That would be my bet, honestly.
Well, it's funny you use the term love because, like, and I almost feel bad for him in his lifetime because, there's, ever hear that old chestnut, love him or hate him, love him or hate him.
Sure.
I feel that it's indifferent or hate him, that people are like, yeah, he's all right. Time to kill, Lost Boys, whatever.
Indifferent. I don't know. Y'all hated fucking...
Well, let me finish. I'll feed you, baby bird. So it's either indifferent, like, he's made some good stuff, like, whatever. Or hate, like, Phantom of the Opera and Batman Forever can eat my dick and fuck you, Joel. I don't know. I've never met a single person in my life who said, Joel Schumacher is my favorite director.
Well, yeah, of course not. No one says that.
Well, I mean, you think there's got to be somebody out there who would say that. There's, I don't know.
I just don't know that he has the breadth of work to qualify that.
I don't know. So I don't know how to quantify the man's career. Like, it seems like he did things the right way, and he was a patient, kind man who never manipulated anybody, never.
I'll tell you what, if he was a good person, like, that's a good thing.
Yeah, and the poor guy had to put up with the Coreys who were just at the beginning of their drug nightmare fuel phase.
Listen, we're going to give the Coreys a hard pass because their lives were really difficult.
Well, and I'm not talking out of school. I mean, the film Corey Feldman made for Lifetime on him and Corey Haim, like, he wrote it, and in the movie, like, the guy who was playing the film version of Joel Schumacher was like, I'm going to kill you little brats if you don't stop showing up to set high and late. So this is coming out of Corey Feldman's mouth, Right,
but like, I'm just going to give the Coreys a lifetime pass. just a general lifetime pass.
But yeah, I mean,
fine. They're fine.
Watch your mic there.
Sorry.
But yeah, it's an interesting career.
It is. I mean, it's with anything, because when you're not well known for one thing or another, when you don't necessarily have a signature and you're maybe known for more bad than good, necessarily.
I'd say maybe even, honestly.
Or more, or just as much mediocre as good. Like, that's a weird place to be in, especially when you pass away suddenly, Also, we didn't talk about this, but he did pass away from cancer. My first thought was COVID, being that
I wondered that too.
That these times are uncertain as they are. These uncertain times, as I always like to say.
I miss precedented times.
Yeah, they're always unprecedented now, but precedented as they are, unprecedented or whatever. He did pass away from about a year-long battle with cancer, which, I mean, isn't really that unexpected. So,
and that was kept under wraps, and I mean, like,
yeah, I didn't know he was sick.
And I mean, the thing is, like, as I said, he kind of slipped out of notoriety for a long time, because, like, he did the last things on IMDb, and I don't know if he did smaller things that didn't make it on IMDb, but he did 2 episodes of House of Cards in 2013.
Right.
And that was the last thing he did. So yeah, he hadn't made anything for 7 years.
I mean, maybe he pretty much semi-retired.
Yeah, he
that
probably
would make sense.
Yeah, probably, took his gun badge off and put him in the ground, like the time for this old cowboy to retire,
Surely. But, it's a shame, though, because, like, no matter how you feel about him, like, the guy was iconic, and it's a shame that he passed, because he had a voice no matter what. Yeah. And it's a shame to see that go away, Well,
Well, you know, and like, as I said, I think he did things the right way, because I've never heard anything bad about working on a set with him. Like the way you do like Coppola or Kubrick.
And I think that that's what matters. You know, your legacy ultimately is how you treat people, how they remember you, what you're known for. I think that that's important. You know, we talk about the business all the time. We talk about people's work, but I think how you treat people is really the only thing that's important.
Yeah, I agree with that. Lloyd Kaufman, you know, the head of Troma, like he said, like, you know, and I'm not going to get this right, but basically the rules for any Troma production is work your hardest, have fun, and absolutely positively no harm comes to property, animals, or people.
Yeah,
and that's they said that the last one is the most important thing, that no stunt, no shot, no anything is worth emotional or physical damage to somebody.
Truly, I couldn't agree with that more. I think that, and for me, maybe this is naive, but knowing that someone's a good person, it makes me enjoy their work that much more. And if I know that someone's a shitbag, for lack of a better term, if I know someone's just not a good person, I can't enjoy their work as much. It really taints it for me. I'm afraid I can't enjoy someone's artistry if I know that they're just not a good person. I'm afraid that just really ruins it for me.
I don't blame you. I mean, you know, because we admire these people, right? And
sure.
You don't want to admire a monster.
And you know, especially too, I know sometimes like people really push back and say, oh, cancel culture, you know, it's just getting out of hand. Like, I welcome cancel culture. If someone's a terrible human being, like, I'm happy to no longer enjoy their work or enjoy them as a human being, because that ruins it for me 100-fold.
Yeah, well, anytime that comes up and people are freaking out, like, I want you to put yourself in that situation and tell me that you would be okay with it and that you would just go on this person. Like Louis C.K. was a hero of mine.
Oh my God, that hurt so much.
I loved him to death. I thought he was the funniest man in America.
That couldn't have sucked more.
Yeah,
sucked more.
I couldn't wait to someday shake his hand.
Oh my God.
And now I realize that I would hope he had washed it first.
Yeah, right.
But I would say anybody's like, oh, this is bullshit. Like, you canceled, they canceled him. I'm like, okay, I want you to imagine that you're this young female comic who admired him and like saw him as a mentor, and one day he locked you into a room and forced you to watch him jack off. You're that person. You
fuck
feel
that guy.
You have no room, like, and you know that he has all this power and control. Lane, take your pills.
Sorry about it.
But you know, and if you feel that after that happened to you, if you could just go and cheer for Louis C.K. and buy his records, like, I guess you're a more forgiving person than me.
I mean, seriously. I mean, honestly, like, that hurt, you know, when it turned out that he was the biggest piece of shit. Because I thought he was so funny, but, like, finding out what a repugnant human being he was, like, nope, I'm done.
And now he's like a MAGA comedian.
It hurt. It really hurt, but I'm done, and it's over, and I'm good, and bye. Like, never again. But like finding out that, you know, that Joel Schumacher was an actual like really compassionate human being and that he was a good person, like, that really helps. Like, I find that knowing that, I don't know, it makes loving Batman and Robin that much sweeter. It makes that movie and the bat nips that much better.
Well, the movie looks like cake frosting, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah,
it's extra sweet for you.
It makes the bat nips that much perkier. So suck it, John.
So was it when George Clooney came out down the skylight and said, "Oh, freeze, I'm Batman," and then he slid down a dinosaur tail while Arnold Schwarzenegger shot his ice penis gun at him? Is that the scene that you loved?
You know, it's weird. Like, I feel like I black out in every scene except for the ones that Uma Thurman's in.
I liked it when Robin yelled "Cowabunga."
I don't know if I'm just super gay for Uma Thurman in that movie, but like, I just forget like George Clooney's even in that movie.
I will say this.
I'm just mostly into the Thurman. I'm not gonna lie.
She might have been her most Roll Tide.
She's so good in that.
At that point,
She's so good. Like everything that comes out of her mouth, I'm just like, oh my God, say it again because I love you.
Oh no! Her talking is not what I'm talking about. Like, as I told Lady Freeze, and I pulled
her plug. No, pulled her plug. Like, yeah, it's just like
a one-woman show.
It's like, goddamn, say it again. I need it. And again, I told you, Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's having so much fun. I just want him to continue having fun. I just don't want anything to interfere with him having fun in that movie because he's so good.
And this is why you need a director to wrangle you in, because Uma was probably told, yeah, choose the scenery. It's campy. It's fun. And like,
whatever.
It's up to the director to go,
no.
Wait, no, we should take that again.
No, I'm glad she was like unfettered. It was just genius. You can't interfere with genius, John. Goddamn.
Reinforced steel, not good.
Not good. No, it's perfect. What are you talking about? You can't interfere with genius. I know our audience agrees with me. You all agree with me, don't you?
Lane, I just have one question.
Yes.
Mr. Freeze's entire plan is to freeze the world and destroy all plant life. And Poison Ivy's plan is to turn the world into like basically a giant greenhouse. Why are they working together?
I think they're going to split the planet in half, and I see no problems with this plan. I see no issues afoot. Nothing is going to go wrong. Nothing.
All right, yeah, that makes sense.
It's going to be fine. They're going to be fine. Those crazy kids are going to work it out.
Still the best film version of Bane.
It's all good. Yeah, no, Bane is so good in that. Just this like weirdo, like lackey that just like juices up inexplicably. It's totally fine.
All right.
It's totally fine.
But no, so I have a question for you.
Yes.
To kind of wrap things up here.
Yes.
Is he one of the best directors for hire? And I know that's a little mean, but like...
We don't mean it in a mean way, but yeah, no, I think that's like a fair assessment.
Because, like, you know, a lot of directors, like, I have to have my vision and I have to make my films and they have to be optimized standards.
Right.
I feel that, like,
I think that can work against you.
I feel that, like, Joel Schumacher is, here's the script. Oh, what's this one? It's a Batman movie. Okay, I can make that. It's a courtroom drama. I can make that. It's a vampire movie. I can make that. Whatever. You know, just pay me and I'll go out and I'll do it sufficiently.
Like I can make your vision work. Yeah, I can see that.
So do you think he is like a director for hire?
One of the better ones. I don't know that he's the best.
Oh, certainly not.
I think that he can make. I think he can make a studio's vision work. I think that if the studio needed something to get done, I think that he was a good person to call. Certainly.
I'd say the best almost director for hire in the world is John Carpenter. Hey, you know what? We should do an episode on him. Oh, wait.
Oh, you don't say.
Oh, wait. We already have it in the can. It's coming out in a few weeks.
How about that?
How about that?
Yes.
But yeah, you know, rest in peace, Joel. You were, you know, you had your ups and downs as a filmmaker,
Hit us harder than expected. You know,
you
sorry
were
to
a
see
good
you
person.
go.
You didn't have ups and downs as a human being. You were, from what I've read, like a very good person. And so thank you for doing things right, because not everybody in this industry does.
Yeah.
So,
sorry we shit on you for all the neon.
Yeah, and we probably will again, like dicks, but only when we talk about Batman.
But you know, I wouldn't change the way that we are, because we're not going to martyrize you just because you're gone. That wouldn't be fair.
You know, and look, I know we just kind of wrapped this up, and I'm getting to another point here, but you know, it was
far be it from you to change who you are, John.
But like McDonald's wants a campy, goofy, bright, silly, over the top movie. What is he gonna do? He's already handcuffed to making the movie silly. And my biggest problem was that they stopped taking it like seriously. You know, like it wasn't like dark and brooding and made for like an adult audience. Like, but there's no way to make that movie by the demands of the studio and to not make it like that. So he was screwed from the outset, unless you like that. Like, but if you're like me, like you're never going to satisfy me, mostly because I'm a dick, but also because I mean,
I wasn't gonna say it,
but no, because I like Batman and Batman Returns so much that like the tonal change, the course, you know, changing the course, like he was never gonna please the audience of me, like, you know, people like me who love those two.
No, there was going to be no changing your mind either way.
You know,
it's true.
And I love the comics, and he was, you know, very gritty in the comics too, and, you know, and this was just kind of the silly version. I mean, there's all kinds of Batmans. You know, there's silly Batman. There's really serious Batman. There's violent Batman. There's, hell, there was Batman collecting war bonds in the 40s.
Right.
Batman's had a lot of iterations, and to say that there's only one version of Batman isn't fair. But yeah, I think that I will always remember him as the director of Batman, forever. And the director of Batman and Robin, and I hope that's not necessarily fair because he did make a lot of stuff, but that's the first thing that comes into my mind when I think of him, for better or worse. And like I said, he did, I guess, the best he could, considering that they wanted to make a Happy Meal version of Batman, and he made it.
Right.
But
the
yeah.
Happy Meal version, I like that.
So they could sell more toys. Hey, we don't like that guy barfing the septic tank. The fish man? We can't really sell toys. We're Danny DeVito's performance. Kids they don't want their chicken nuggets because they're looking at his face.
Oh my goodness. How about that?
So yeah, I think it was kind of a shock to all of our systems, but he's rested in peace now, and what a career. It spanned many decades.
It's true.
And
true.
Yeah, he will always be remembered. And yeah, Joel, thanks for the memories.
Yeah, it's never easy to see somebody go. Like I said, with you, John, I'm with you. It just was a shame to see someone pass like that. But hopefully, he's in a better place. And I don't know. It's hard to see somebody go, but hopefully it's a better situation. And like I said, I'm glad I'm glad it's not COVID. Is that weird?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't want anybody dying from this COVID thing. I don't want him dying, period, but at least it wasn't this stupid fucking nightmare disease.
I know.
So
I know.
But yeah. Yeah.
It's hard to talk about death. I think it's hard to talk about death.
It's not the most fun thing
Not
in the world.
It's not ideal. But anyway.
R.I.P. Joel.
All right. Well, I think that does it. John, where can they find you on the Twitter machine?
The Unreal J Wolves.
And you can find me at LA_Croft. And, Brian can be found at Brian Coddington. He also runs the Psycho Show page at Psycho Show. If you want to leave us a review or
if you have a favorite Joel Schumacher movie and you want to tell us what it is,
please let us know. Leave us anything else, on our Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. Please do so. And, let us know what you're thinking and what movies you love. If you have a movie you want us to review, also, we are always open to that. And, check us out on
the social medias.
Every social media and
Twitter, Facebook, Grindr.
Grindr? We're not on Grindr.
Oh, we're not? Oh,
no, I'm sorry. We're not open to date. But check us out, and we will catch you guys next time.
Cool party. Hey, everyone. Chill. Atom and evil. Snow.